All right, we are live, and it is on to the playoffs. SNL going to cover every, and I mean every, playoff scenario courtesy of Cody Stoots. Join us this Friday at Spanky's. That's January the 2nd. Cody will be getting the gift of his life. I can't wait to give him this gift. This is going to be good, and it's going to be a big symbol of what we have been through this year. We hope to see you there. We'll also be there the Friday after. John McClain's going to be on the scene there as well. So we got you covered. Got a lot to get into. Texans off today, but we're going to talk playoff scenarios. And I do think there is, Cody, one clear ideal scenario for the Texans. And it's obvious, win the division and then whoever you play. Although you could, as we get into this, the opponent for winning the division may be better than, say, Pittsburgh, if Pittsburgh's able to pull off the dub against the Ravens.
Well, the opponents that you face if you win the division versus the opponents that you face if you're the 5, 6, or 7 seed, it's very different. It's very different. It's very interesting. There's some very good teams that you could face, and then there's some teams that you might feel better, even though they're higher seeded teams. Than going to, host Buffalo, so to speak. So there's lots of different ways this thing could play out for the Texans.
All right, so let's just jump right into it. Shout out to everyone in the chat. We hope to see you at Spanky's. We'll also hear DeMeco Ryans. Cody asked DeMeco Ryans. I thought it was a normal question. DeMeco kind of thinks that Cody's a simp, which I kind of take exception to, but I wouldn't expect much different from old DeMeco. Cody, let's get through the scenarios. First of all, how many scenarios are there?
So there are only 4 seeds that the Texans can end up as. They can end up as the 3 seed, the 5 seed, the 6 seed, and the 7 seed. So there's only 4 different seeds that they can end up with. I'll go through the seeds first, how they get that seed, and then we can go through the opponents if they end up in that seed in order of most likely that they would play. So let's start with kind of a nightmare scenario. I don't know how this would happen because the Colts aren't playing Phillip Rivers. Riley Leonard's going to be their quarterback, but the Texans could end up as the 7 seed if the Colts beat them, the Bills beat the Jets, and the Chargers with no Justin Herbert beat the Broncos.
Not just without no Justin Herbert. Jim Harbaugh is quoted as saying, anyone who has bruises that need to heal will not play. So, yeah, so this one is a very, 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 very big. This is a long shot right here. I will say this, though. I don't know that Riley Leonard increases the Texans' chances of beating the Colts based on what Phillip Rivers looked like last week.
I mean, chasing around fat Phillip Rivers would be a lot more fun for the defense than chasing around Riley Leonard. He's got a little mobility to him. He's a bigger body that's bigger body because of strength, not bigger body because of weight, like Phillip Rivers. So, yeah, chasing around Phillip Rivers would have been way more ideal than chasing around Riley Leonard. Certainly.
All right, so that is a extreme long shot. I would say that the likelihood of it is very low, and I would say just the biggest thing is the Chargers beating the Broncos when they're not even trying to, when the Broncos can get the 1 seed.
This is the absolute total most unlikely scenario to me. Absolutely. All right, let's go to the 6th seed. How do the Texans end up as the 6th seed in the AFC? Well, the Colts would have to beat the Texans, and then you'd need to get one of those other games. Either the Bills beat the Jets or the Chargers beat the Broncos. So that team that wins that game would move up. You'd stay ahead of the other team. You'd go down to the 6th seed. The team that wins their game, most likely Buffalo, would move up to the 5 seed. So it'd be Buffalo 5, Houston 6, and then we're assuming the Chargers are going to lose, Chargers 7. So obviously both of them win and you lose, you go to the 7. One of them wins and you lose, you go to the 6 seed.
And I would say if you lose to the Colts, then I think this is the likely scenario, because I would say that Buffalo definitely beats the Jets, and that would be what that is right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, I think this is the second least likely because I just don't see the Colts taking care of their business to this level. So,
by the way, how nice is Jim Harbaugh for trying to do everything he can to set up a Harbaugh brothers matchup for the NFL for the playoffs?
yeah, he's trying.
Or he's not, or he's actually not. He's actually trying to face the Chargers. Yeah, he's actually trying to avoid that. So, yeah, or he's trying to avoid his brother. He's doing the old school Brazilian type thing.
Well, he's just trying to make sure that his team has the best chance to win should his brother's team continue to win. Yeah, because the Chargers would have a very hard time getting to the 5 seed in basically any scenario, even if they were playing. So the least likely ones, they're out of the way. Let's talk about the 5 seed. The Texans end up as the 5 seed if they beat the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Tennessee Titans.
These are both double-digit favorites. So this is the likely scenario for the Texans is this. You beat the Colts, the Jags beat the Titans, and bada bing, bada boom. Liam Cohen gets his division title. Texans advance, and they sit right there above Buffalo, which is the most important thing.
If the Texans win, the only other game you're paying attention to is Jacksonville and Tennessee. Because if the Texans win, the lowest they can go is the 5 seed. So if the Texans beat the Colts, they're at the lowest, the 5 seed, and then it's up to Jacksonville versus Tennessee's outcome. So that's how the Texans could be the 5 seed. We said we're going to cover every Texans playoff scenario. We're covering every Texans playoff scenario. They are also the 5 seed if one of the most unthinkable things happens. The Indianapolis Colts beat the Texans. The Jets beat the Bills. And then, of course, the Broncos take care of business. The 5-6-7 would remain the 5-6-7 as it is if they all took a loss. So look at Petrie's face. Even he's like, there ain't no freaking way this is happening. So they're the 5 seed if they win. They're the 5 seed if the Bills, and the Chargers all lose as well.
By the way, can I just say this? If DeMeco Ryans pulls the Canales this week, I'm done.
Cheats on his wife?
No, come on. DeMeco would never do that.
No, and he certainly wouldn't write a book about it.
If he pulls the no Jacksonville Jaguar Tennessee Titans score on the scoreboard, then I'm going to be very pissed off at him for partaking in that bit.
Well, I mean, if anybody's got a wandering eye, it's Dave Canales. All right, so that we've gone through the 7th seed, the 6th seed, the 2 ways to get to the 5 seed. Here's how the Texans get to the 3 seed. Look, DeMeco's excited. He got the big thumbs up going. The Texans beat the Indianapolis Colts, and then the Tennessee Titans on the back of Cam Ward go into Jacksonville and beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then the Texans would win the AFC South for the 3rd consecutive year. Then they would be the 3 seed in the AFC portion of the NFL playoffs. So this one, far less likely than the 5 seed scenario, and maybe even less likely than the other 5 seed scenario. Like, you got a better chance of the Bills just, throwing up on themselves than I think the Titans going into Jacksonville beating the Jags when they got a chance to punch their ticket and win the AFC South.
I mean, this would just kill all the mojo that the Jags are feeling. Liam Cohen was on McAfee today. He's feeling himself. I think they're actually playing well. Trevor Lawrence is playing really well as well. This would be just absolutely kill all the mojo, and it would be actually kind of the most hilarious manner in which the Texans would win the division. Although they did do that, this did kind of happen in 2023.
You would essentially have the Titans beat the Jags twice, because I would think Jacksonville would then go into the playoffs so defeated they probably don't put up much of a fight in that next matchup. Like, I just don't believe that they'd get up off the deck if the Titans beat them. I think that they're obviously talented. They're playing really good football right now, but if they lose to Tennessee, that feels like something that would linger, and the Titans might beat them twice to whoever they play in the playoffs. So, again, unlikely that the Texans get the 3, but this is how they do it. Take care of their business, and then the Tennessee Titans upset the Jacksonville Jaguars in one of the bigger upsets of the NFL season.
Yeah, that would be really, really crazy. Cam Ward's playing better. I don't know if he's playing that much better. So that would be interesting. But we agree the most likely is the 5 seed. If we were to pull up the most likely, this is the most likely. We won't even pull up the least likely. I'll be honest, on my stream last night, and today I'm going to do the best. I'm going to stack up CJ Stroud and DeMeco against the other head coach QB duos.
Oh, I like that.
But I functioned, and I made this very clear. I functioned under the assumption that the Broncos and the Bills won, and I made it a lot easier on myself. That's not what we did here, and credit to you for putting this together. But that's how I function, because I just can't fathom that not being the case and that not happening.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's the Chargers benching everybody and the Broncos getting the bye week with a victory. That basically eliminates any scenario in the fathomability of the weekend of the Broncos losing a game. Like, there's just not a way they're going to lose that football game.
Yeah, I also kind of misspoke, because it feels like Harbaugh is, A, he wants to rest. His quarterback does have a broken hand, so I understand. But B, I think he also thinks, okay, I can go on the road and beat New England better than I have a chance to beat the Ravens or Jacksonville.
Well, certainly. And yeah, I mean, the most likely opponents, and we'll get to who the Texans could play in the various seeds, but he's got to feel pretty good about his chances to go cross country and beat up on the Patriots or beat up on the Jaguars. Certainly.
Yes, for sure. All right, so now let's get to the opponents. Before we do that, though, let's go to the chat real quick. It is SNL Texans off, but we are not. Landry Locker, Cody Stoots with you.
Swarm.
Malik says, when the Texans win the Super Bowl this year, will it be Kamari and Bullock with the Gatorade shower, or Kamari and Anderson? Oh, okay.
No,
who's dumping the Gatorade? I think Will Anderson's definitely going to be a part of that if there's a Gatorade dumping.
I feel like a lot of times the Gatorade dumping is because let's be really clear about what's happening here. If the Texans are winning the Super Bowl, the defense is probably on the field.
Okay.
So I think it's more likely that you're going to get like
Titus seems like he might want to be the Gatorade dumper.
I had the two guys I had in mind were Juice and Titus.
Juice, no.
Oh yeah.
No.
You gotta do something.
Juice is going to dump it on Popovich, but he's going to do it just so he can pour something on him. He's not doing it out of celebration. Never want to play me, you SOB.
Remember when they hit Saban in the head with the Gatorade?
Man, Saban ruined the joy of the Gatorade bath. Wiggles says, any interest in Trevon Diggs? I have no faith in Trevon Smith. That would be a no for me, dog.
So as far as a waiver claim, absolutely not. Nobody's going to take that contract. And then my thought process was Trevon Diggs, I mean, it's very squeaky wheel, probably would want to start if he does sign up with a playoff team. He's definitely not starting in Houston. I don't know everybody's starting cornerbacks across the potential playoff teams, and I got to imagine there's starter reps in there somewhere for him. So I would think if a playoff team wants to sign him up, he's got starting opportunities more so than backing up Kamari Lassiter or Derek Stingley. And I wonder if Deontay Johnson falling apart at the end of last year kind of soured them on maybe taking a Trevon Diggs swing.
Yeah, I would say that does not happen. I don't know if he plays within their system. That was kind of one of the knocks, I think, in Dallas was that he didn't really – he's kind of a freelancer. I don't know that they want freelancers at corner. So the answer for me would be no.
Yeah,
on that with Trevon Diggs. But yeah, Trevon Smith does make a lot of people nervous. And there's always going to be a drop off from your second to your third corner, but yeah, it's a massive drop off, and it is something to keep an eye on. It's also, as we talk about Jim Harbaugh icing up, as I like to say, Kamari Lassiter might be one of those guys that you need to maybe just try to give a week off and let Tremont Smith hold it down for a week.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I don't think Riley Leonard and Alec Pierce are going to go nuclear on you and upset you just because Kamari takes a break for a week.
Yeah, I don't think so either. All right, so let's get to the opponents here with Cody Stoots breaking down all the playoff possibilities. A few days away from the gathering at Spanky's, and a few days away from us knowing what in the hell is going to happen when it comes to the playoffs. This is going to be a fun football stretch. We got the college football playoff beginning tomorrow. We got the triple header on the 1st, and then we got the NFL shaping up. By the way, the NFL, very smart the way that they reschedule stuff because nobody is getting away with anything.
Nope.
At all.
Nope. You got the Chargers, Broncos, both their game, Bills. All those games are in the afternoon. You got the Texans and the Jags, and the Titans and the Colts in the early afternoon spots. Yeah, nobody's sneaking away.
You know who has it the worst is Tampa Bay, because if they win, then they have to sit back and root for the Saints to beat the Falcons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's not even just for the division. I assume that there a lot of people didn't have the Falcons beating the Rams yesterday on their bingo cards. So that happened, and there's that. All right, so let's get to the potential opponents.
Now
we break this down.
We agreed that the 7th seed was a very unlikely scenario, but I wanted to give you who the opponents would be anyway, and in most likely order. So the Texans were the 7th seed. They'd play either the Patriots, the Jaguars, or the Broncos. Again, super unlikely they play the Broncos. Most likely they would play the Patriots. A win by the Patriots makes them, at worst, the 2 seed. And you'd likely go to Foxborough, and you take on Mike Vrabel, Drake May, and the New England Patriots. If somehow the Patriots lost to the Dolphins and the Jaguars won, you would go to Jacksonville and you'd take on the Jaguars. Okay. So again, 7th seed, yeah. 6th seed, same deal, same 3 opponents, different order. It's most likely the Jacksonville Jaguars, because if Denver, New England, and Jacksonville all win, it stays Denver 1, New England 2, Jacksonville 3, and obviously 3 plays 6. So it's the same 3 opponents, and it's just a little bit different likely order, again, that you would play them. Okay? Totally new opponents, if you're the 5 seed. You play the winner of the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens, who are favored right now over the Pittsburgh Steelers, with a maybe on Lamar Jackson playing. Maybe.
Okay.
And then the Pittsburgh Steelers have, well, all the Pittsburgh Steelers things, and they're a questionable on TJ Watt playing in that game. So those are your 2 opponents. You obviously wouldn't know who you're playing until the end of Sunday Night Football. And then very quickly after that, you'd find out when you're playing, either Saturday, Sunday, or remember, the first round of the playoffs of the NFL now has a Monday Night Football game. So there's a potential that you could play Monday Night Football, as well as, I would think Saturday is kind of off the table, because I don't think they would make one of the respected NFL franchises, the Ravens or the Steelers, play on Sunday night and then turn around and play Saturday afternoon. So I don't think they would quite do that.
No, it could be a Monday nighter, which would be just sick. Oh,
yeah,
dude,
being the last game of the slate would be awesome.
That would be incredible.
I mean, because then you could have a blast on Sunday. You could just.
Dude, you can just post up and watch all the division, all the wild card stuff, and just Monday. Yeah, that would be amazing. I also think that there would be a boom bust if you face the Steelers, because all the Love You Blue fans that are kind of apathetic towards the Texans, because there's not really much connection. Like there's no, the uniform's not there. The rivalries are different, but you put that Steelers logo right there, the diehard Love You Blue booms. And I know we have a lot of boom fans, so I'm not saying all of them, but even them, their blood pressure goes up a little bit more when they see that fucking Steelers logo. I can assure you that. You talk to any Love You Blue, you show them that they're ready for war.
Oh yeah. And I would think that the Steelers, just from a name franchise, you got a better chance of playing Monday Night Football against them than I think you do against the Ravens. Not saying that they wouldn't put the Texans and the Ravens on Monday Night Football. I just think Texans-Steelers on Monday Night Football is just a tiny bit better chance. And I would think your most likely slot, if you play the Ravens, is you open Sunday, is you have the first game on Sunday.
Man, if the Steelers can just win, it would just be so cool. Like I even think going to Pittsburgh just with the towels waving around, the playoff atmosphere. And Aaron Rodgers is not what he once was, but you're still playing Aaron Rodgers in a playoff game. And it's still the Steelers. Like there's certain like organizations, like traditional organizations that just kind of demand that respect and that nostalgia.
Well, I had this thought, and it's not.
And it's also the easiest opponent too. That's also an addition to it.
I thought there was something kind of fun. You remember when the Astros won their first championship? They kind of beat and collected all the big bads on the way. Starting your playoff run off with retiring Aaron Rodgers would be a nice little feather in the cap for the defense. And then who knows what you get after that? You know, maybe you get a couple of upsets below you and you're hosting a playoff game, or, you know, maybe you got to go take care of Drake May, or you get another shot at Bo Nix. Like there's a couple of things that you could collect on a magical run. And it would kind of start with, you're the last team that ever played Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Because I think he's done. I don't, unless he wants to be the Colts quarterback next year.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. And quite frankly, they might be able to, it's an upgrade over Rivers. They might have something going if that happened. I don't know. I look, they're in quarterback hell. So
yeah.
I have no idea what they're going to do.
So this is, again, the 5 seeds most likely. These are your 2 most likely opponents, with, I would say, Baltimore being a slight advantage in this.
They're a 3-point fave right now, last I checked.
Yeah. And so.
But it wouldn't be, it's not, this Baltimore team is flawed. This isn't the Baltimore Ravens that we've become used to. They still demand that respect because they've owned the Texans in the DeMeco and CJ era, but it's up to 3.5. They're a 3.5-point favorite, and they're on the road against Pittsburgh. So
yeah. And then finally, if you end up as the 3 seed, again, new opponents to potentially play. If you end up as the 3 seed, you could play 3 different teams. You can play either the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Buffalo Bills, or the Los Angeles Chargers. We all agree the Chargers are the least likely because they would need to win, and Buffalo would need to lose. Because Jacksonville owns the tiebreaker over both these teams, I believe. Or no, they don't own the tiebreaker over Buffalo. So as the 3 seed, you could play Buffalo, you could play Jacksonville, you could play the Chargers. I would think Jacksonville's the most likely because Buffalo, if they win, they're the 5 seed. And then you get Jacksonville in the 3-6 matchup, which again, you only have that because Jacksonville wets the bet against Tennessee and they come in really defeated after, blowing the division, and then they got to come play you at your place. So you might feel pretty good about that matchup, but those are your potential opponents as the 3 seed. So
there you go. Cody lays it all out. We appreciate everyone for riding along on that. That was some good stuff right there. Back to the chat.
Swarm.
But we agree though. Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh's my preference, certainly.
Pittsburgh, yes. Even maybe more so even than division. If you're talking like, even if you're just from strictly an opponent standpoint, Pittsburgh. RGV_Eric. Should we experiment with our secondary versus the Colts? What does experiment with the secondary mean?
I mean, I would think that you'd want Kevon Wallace to get a couple more snaps and get him ready for being the safety next to Bullock. And if you want to play Stingley and Kamari Lassiter for a half and give some other guys, but no, you're not going to get anybody ready to you'd be excited about if they had to come in the game in a week against the Colts.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. So should we experiment? I don't know about that. But yeah, more Wallace, please. Evan says, love you guys, not scared of the AFC North at number 4. So no, but neither opponent scares him.
I certainly understand not being scared of this version of Baltimore. I just, their defense has got a little bit of juice to it.
Yeah, they're definitely more healthy than what the Texans saw. He says we will Baltimore or Pittsburgh in his opinion. Common sense says it would be hilarious if the Jags lose to the Titans. Yes, it would.
I mean, they'd be I mean, that'd just be the maximum Jacksonville of them, you know?
Yeah, that would be the epitome of you think stuff has changed and it has not.
Yeah.
So that would be an absolute disaster for them. All right, so we've laid out the Texans playoff outlook. Yesterday, Cody, you asked DeMeco Ryans about the disastrous end of halves, which we've talked about. I actually asked Nick Calia about it 2 days before, which makes his how DeMeco answered this even a little more hilarious. But we agree the margin for error for this team appears to be small, and the end of halves, whether it's being overly aggressive when it awkwardly feels like you shouldn't be, or not aggressive enough when it's awkwardly obvious that you should be, there seems to be a little bit of a problem, and it kind of reached a peak with what we saw against the Chargers. You asked DeMeco about it. This is what he had to say.
Drive before the end of the first half, CJ ended up throwing the interception. You guys started on your own one, and then it felt like you got some yards with Woody on the ground. Then you decided to go to the air. What went into the decision to kind of go to the air there versus maybe keep it on the ground and maybe keep the Chargers away from getting the opportunity to have the ball?
Yeah, we're throwing the football there. I mean, that's our plan. We're going to execute our game. Like no matter what, we make a bad decision. I mean, I think you're asking the question because we threw the interception. If we don't throw the interception, then do we have the question? Like, no, we're running our offense. We had a bad play that happened. That happens. We had an opportunity to go down and try to get points at the end of the half. That's what we're going to try to do. So didn't go our way. That happens. That's football.
Reaction?
I mean, it's just you didn't have to throw the football. You didn't have to throw the football. You could have kept it on the ground. You didn't have to be that aggressive while trying to throw the football. And I certainly understand after Woody Marks thinking, hey, the amount of time we have in the timeouts, we can get into Kaimi's range. This is a place where he probably can get 50 plus, and maybe with time expiring, we can give Kaimi a chance at this. Like, I understand that line of thinking. I don't understand when your quarterback has already thrown an interception in the first half. You haven't done really anything impressive from a drive standpoint since the first couple of drives of the game. I don't understand getting it in the air. And I certainly don't understand going back to the air after you threw an incomplete pass to Dalton Schultz. It didn't make sense. If you wanted to be aggressive to try to steal some 3 points, you should have ran the football again. But mostly you should have just taken it to half.
Yeah, I don't really get it. On the chat, Trey of Texas says, no shit, the question's asked because the interception. When you F up, he gets questioned. No, I didn't understand why they were throwing immediately. That's just me. And the end of half has been an issue all year long. All year long, we've pointed out to it. So yeah, that's for someone who, I think you said someone who deals in hindsight. He doesn't.
DeMeco refuses to address hypotheticals. Yeah. Except he creates a hypothetical there. Well, if there wasn't an interception, you wouldn't have asked this. Well, depending on what happened, the phrasing of the question might have been different, but I still might have asked about it. Like, you know what? You handed them the opportunity to score 7, maybe 3. Ultimately, the kicker missed the kick, but it was the wrong decision. And then the kicker missing the kick doesn't make it a more right decision. It remains the wrong decision.
JJ Sugar says, I don't know. I feel like this is a hindsight issue. DeMeco is right. If there was no interception, nobody questions that play and we move along. I disagree. I think that immediately you're trying to get out of your end zone. I think that was kind of abundantly clear. I think this is much different than the other issues. So I don't think it's a hindsight thing. I think that's kind of a simp way of thinking. That it's a hindsight. I was immediately wondering why they were throwing on the play before. And I actually even said, okay, Texans taking it to the house. So I don't think that's really a hindsight thing at all.
I would think that most people that watch a lot of football and have a somewhat of an understanding, once Azeez catches that interception and you're on your 1 yard line, the number one goal at that point is do not give up a safety, because that's 2 points and they get the football with 3 timeouts before the half ends. So get out of safety danger. Okay, they did that. Then
your quarterback had also just thrown an interception. Like
yes.
it was, yeah. So he had also just thrown an interception that you had bailed out of to get to the first. It's a completely different feel. It's like San Francisco, like when you're at the 25 with 30 seconds left or whatever, and you throw the interception. It's been an issue, and it's not a hindsight thing. And this is Gunner here. This example of if it works, you praise it. If it doesn't, it was a stupid mistake. Be aggressive or don't. Score points or be conservative. Got to make up your mind. I don't think it's as simple as be conservative. It's a matter of knowing when to be conservative. Again, and it's something that's been an issue the whole time.
But let me lay out the process here and the goals you should be trying to achieve if you're the Texans. Number one goal is don't give up a safety. Get out of safety danger. They did that. The Chargers called a timeout. The next goal is don't give the football back to the Chargers.
It's weird because DeMeco talks a little bit different when he's not in front of people. And I'm just going to say that, like, he explains what his philosophy is in other situations when he's not talking in front of people. And that's the thing is that it's a completely different.
But even if you didn't but even if this was Broncos Chargers this weekend, don't give up a safety, get out of safety danger, and then don't give the football back to the other team. That's like, it doesn't matter who the teams are. Like, those are the two things that you need to accomplish. And like, they went about trying to do that because they ran the ball the next time. Then they had to call the timeout because of the injury. And then I'm guessing they looked around and they were like, well, hey, let's try to get in here. Let's try to get 3. Because like, you can tell me that you want to get points before half when you've got 59 yards in front of you. I don't necessarily know that I believe you if you have less than a minute and 3 timeouts. Like, that's asking a lot from an offense that hadn't shown anything since the second drive.
Swarm.
Crazy Texans 6372. Is it possible to get Reed back at safety for any of the playoffs? I think that is a possibility. It's not possible for Ward, but I do think it's a possibility to get Reed back. My answer to that would be yes. I do think it's a possibility. I'm not going to sit here and say it's inevitable. Maybe we get kind of a little bit of a hint at that this week if he returns to practice. I don't anticipate him playing this week, but who knows? But I'm not going to dismiss the possibility of Jalen Reed playing at some point this year. Not going to say he's going to, but I'm not dismissing it.
You know, I think Texans cap said he has to be activated for the playoffs. Like, they wouldn't bring him back for, like, maybe they can't bring him back for this game, or he has to be brought back when the playoffs get here, for one way or the other, because of some roster machination or something.
He knows all
yeah,
that.
I think there is. I would say it. They did not rule him out when he broke the plate in his forearm, which would have. I mean, I'd have been out for 2 years if that happened to me.
Yes. No lie. MMA God says, do y'all make anything of DeMeco's Stroud nucleus having more playoff experience than a lot of the other teams in the AFC race? Still won a home game. Yeah, I think the only team that's more battle tested is Buffalo, and that's it. But they have the second most experience, depending on if Baltimore gets in. That's right. Depending on if Baltimore gets in, because Tomlin and Rodgers have an assload of experience, but it's not as a duo. So
it's individual.
Yeah. So that would be the second most experience. 713 Houston Sports. Ruben says he's feeling dangerous. I don't know what the hell that means, but
that could mean a variety of things.
That's dangerous. That's a dangerous thought. Quite honestly.
Is he at the end of the blunt?
MMA God says, come on, Landry, 55 seconds, 3 timeouts, and you're taking a knee there. You'd be the most conservative coach of all time. I think there's a little bit more to it. You just basically stole points from a team at the 1 yard line. You got out of the one. They were trying to use their timeouts, and you're up 14-3. You're up 14-3, and you haven't done dick on offense, and your quarterback just threw an interception. So, yes, I would. In that instance, it's not hindsight. I would have taken it to the house. If they wanted to be aggressive there, it would be strange because they weren't against the Colts. But it's really just as simple as it's based on who has the ball in the third quarter with what we see. But no, I wouldn't do it all the time. But in that instance, yes, I would.
Look,
it's between starting at your 25 and getting out of your end zone. Yes, I would do that.
I wouldn't have totally. I mean, after Woody Marks rips off a 19-yard carry, I wouldn't have totally packed it in. I'd have seen if he could have stole me a few more yards on the ground, then I get a little bit further away from danger territory. But I'm certainly not, if it was Cody Stoots in control, I'm certainly not putting it in the air. And I'm certainly not putting it in the air again after an incomplete pass that stopped the clock and didn't burn any time. Like the Texans were in full control of how much time was going to be left on the clock. And because I don't think that the Chargers, once the Woody Marks run happened, were going to use their timeouts.
Yeah, CCTV says completely agree. The game's fluid. Decisions can change on a dime. Almost seems like they weren't expecting Marks to pop the run and didn't know what to do. Too many hands on in the cookie jar. That's possible. I do think there is a dynamic where DeMeco's a little bit more involved in those situations, but we don't really deal in hindsight. Like it's not really a hindsight type of situation for me. Like on 4th and 2, when I say kick the field goal, if they missed the field goal, I don't say they should have gone for it. Like that's just not really how we function. Literally 3 days before I asked about the end of half play calling. So that's just not really how it works. A lot of times you break down results and stuff like that. And some don't deal in hypotheticals, but that's just not really how it works. It's just kind of a different thing.
Well, I would have been fine with them continuing to run the football after Woody Marks, but putting it in the air, it was silly.
Yeah, it was a weird decision to say the least. Do you find any irony? I asked this yesterday. Do you find any irony in the recent legendary status of Bill O'Brien, where like DeMeco Ryans joins Bill O'Brien as the only coach to start out 0-3 and make the playoffs? Like it feels like the Bill O'Brien 2018 season. It's kind of been elevated a little bit. I look back at that. I remember the 21-7 L to the Colts. It feels like history's being kind to BOB around here.
Yeah, I think the guy's an ass.
He can't hold DeMeco Ryans' jock. I'm making that clear, but I do think it's funny that it's like DeMeco did what BOB did.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty. I mean, it's if you want to compare them, you want to make them like it. That's the last guy that did it. Okay, but that team sucked. And you know who else sucked? The other 4 teams that have done it since 1990. Like, and you know who else was not good? Those head coaches. You know who Bobby Ross is?
Yeah, I do. Chargers, Lions.
Yeah, Bobby Ross stunk. Okay. Wayne Fontes stunk.
Yeah.
Wade Phillips as a head coach kind of stunk. Like those are the other coaches that did it. Like, it's not a good crew to be in. Like you did it, but it's not the crew you want to be in.
No, not really, but that's where they're at right now with that. Rodzilla on Z Chat.
Swarm.
I see people posting Dan Campbell's quote. This may be our only shot if the Texans fail to win the Super Bowl. Does that quote apply to us? How wide is the Super Bowl window? Is it cracked open? This is a good question because Dan Campbell did say that after the win. What are your thoughts on that? On the window?
I would think that this is their best shot with this group. The defense might be good enough to give them another crack at it. But I would think that the window will never be this open unless something is different the next time. Be it someone on the coaching staff or perhaps a different quarterback.
Yeah, I think the window is. I think it depends on Kansas City. Like, is Kansas City like going to reinvent themselves and reestablish themselves? Like, and is Patrick Mahomes going to be healthy? Because if they're able to reinvent themselves, like the Patriots were, like at this point in Tom Brady's career, where he ironically tore his ACL at about the same time, that's kind of an uphill battle for everybody. But I think that I think that the window is what it is, but I do think this is one of the best opportunities they'll ever have. Like you don't have to go through Kansas City. You don't have to go through Baltimore. Maybe we look back 5 years and say this was the beginning of something fantastic for the Broncos or the Patriots or something like that. But on the surface, it doesn't appear that you have like some just improbable task ahead or improbable opponent.
I mean, look, the Cincinnati Bengals went to the Super Bowl and thought they're going to be there every year, and they haven't come close to getting back. I mean, I know they made the AFC Championship the next year, but it's fallen apart from them. So you get a very tiny crack at it unless you have a generational quarterback, and we all know that CJ's right now and probably never will be a generational quarterback. So if you got Mahomes, you got to crack at it every year. You got Allen, you got to crack at it every year. Lamar, you got a shot every year. But there's a lot of good quarterbacks that get one, maybe two shots at it, and there's probably a lot of years between those.
Justin Singleton says, how do you feel about the Mixon news? What's the Mixon news? Did I miss something?
You mean the Joe Mixon olds? Because it wasn't news to us.
What was it?
I'm assuming Justin's talking about Aaron Wilson saying that Joe Mixon was out for the season.
Okay.
Which is something that had been said multiple times by lots of people before.
Well, he said didn't he say he was going to be back for camp? Didn't he say he was going to be back for camp?
Was it previously written?
Alpha Aaron here.
Was it previously written that he would be back? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really have anything to say. I don't think it's news at all. Chris Mush says yesterday DeMeco said once his offense gives them 7 points, it should be a mentality that's enough. Do you feel that affects Kaylee's play calling? I do wonder what DeMeco's impact is on the offense and the philosophy and the mindset, specifically at the end of half and all that. But I don't really. I don't know that it's affecting Nick Kaylee's play calling on the surface. I think it's just been bad.
Well, I do wonder if sometimes, the aggressive dial is adjusted by the head coach. Hey, maybe we don't be too aggressive here. Okay. Let me scratch off with my little highlighter, these cool plays, and let's run the Woody marks up the middle. I do wonder if the aggressive meter gets adjusted via the head coach quite a bit.
Yeah, no doubt. I would agree with that. Timothy says, would y'all go after David Montgomery in the offseason? He's getting kind of old, isn't he?
Yeah, no, that's a pass for me. Too much tread on the tire. If I'm signing a free agent, I'm signing Breece Hall.
Yeah, and that you could have traded for him. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting offseason. The running back position, quite frankly, if you have Marks and Jordan as starting points and then you go get a bell cow, running back position might be an area of strength next year. And I don't know. We'll see how this lasts with Jawar Jordan. This could just be a little stretch, but I think you have a decent starting point if you go get a bell cow, someone. You're maybe not going to find the next Joe Mixon, and I don't think Joe Mixon's going to be back. But if you can find something like that, you might be able to make it an area of strength.
I mean, I would love to see Marks as the 1B, find a 1A, and then add another body of note to that running back room. You're not going to find much in free agency. It's just there's not a lot of stuff popping up there. I mean, we mentioned Breece Hall, but I mean, Rico Dowdle, that's not a 1A. Najee Harris, he's a Pirate now.
Najee Harris is he's done.
He's only got one eye. Arr.
Yeah, he's done. He's done. But yeah, appreciate the playoff scenarios. And tomorrow we'll hear from old DeMeco.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll apologize for calling Cody a simp. Nah, it is what it is.
The way he's answered one of my questions has never bothered me, and
it's funny.
It never will.
I think it's funny, and we're rooting for him. And the good thing is they have a chance to execute perfectly in the playoffs. Maybe Nick Caley is a switch flipper,
or is he a switch flopper?
No, you can't flop the switch. you have to flip the switch. That's an up thing. It's not like a flip. We're not gonna get into that.
Please, no more flipping and flopping, please. No more flipping and flopping.
All right, so we appreciate everyone for
real quick. Do you have a lean on either of these bowl games left on the day?
I do. I actually got La Tech. They just covered for me.
Gumby, baby.
So they covered for me. I have the point total over. I don't think that's going to hit. There were more penalties in the first half of this game than any other bowl game. But I have a new rule.
Okay.
I have a new rule, so I can't tell you what I'm leaning. My new rule for bowl season is my eyes have to lay on the game. Like I have to have my eyes on the game for at least 5 minutes before I make a wager.
Oh, okay.
So I have to, but I have been told that there could be some points in this Tennessee-Illinois game.
Oh,
I have been told that there could be some points.
with Illinois involved?
Yes.
Okay.
They're not your old Illinois. They're not your old Illinois.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that.
Okay, Justin said he followed up on his news. It's from the Alpha.
Hey, bro. Alpha Aaron.
And it's always
here.
dangerous when you bring up news, but shout out to Justin Singleton. He says Aaron Wilson has a new report about Mixon saying Texans could let him go. No kidding. He was getting treatments and not telling the Texans, going outside the team doctors. Okay.
I mean, if he messed, look, they're a lot nicer about the situation than I was, because if a player got hurt and tried to fix it on his own without me knowing as the football team, I'd go after his money. It doesn't seem like they're going to go after his money. It seems like there'll be a nice little just parting of ways in the offseason. And plus, if a guy's hurt bad enough that he can't play football at all in a season, I don't want him coming back being a part of my room in 2026.
Well, and he wasn't, and I think they really do value, and DeMeco has said this a number of times that they, and I don't know if it was a shot at Stephon Diggs or some other guys who would get hurt and not be around, but it feels like DeMeco likes when guys get hurt and they're around the team.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like that's something that's very valuable to him.
I have an update from Texans Cap on the Jalen Reed thing.
Okay.
The team has already used their 8 return slots for the regular season.
Okay.
They get 2 additional ones in the playoffs. So he can come back for the playoff game. He can't come back for Indianapolis.
Okay.
So officially he could come back in the playoffs. Yes, Jalen Reed at safety.
Okay.
Boy, I tell you what, if Jalen Smith's good next year and Jalen Reed's good next year, this is one hell of a draft class.
I think it already is a hell of a draft class, no matter what. Like regardless of those guys, I think it's. But you're talking even more than hell of a.
Yeah, I mean, look, you found a starting left tackle. Ursery's good to very good at times. Woody Marks is absolutely a running back you can put into the situation. You have 2 receivers that can impact the game. And if you somehow got 2 key depth pieces in the secondary, I mean, that's a fantastic draft.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I think it's one of the better drafts. It actually kind of saved like what was kind of a suspect offseason. Texans
number 1D.
Number 1D. Okay. That's an AOL screen name right there. Why did the offense slow down after the first 2 TDs? I think Los Angeles, excuse me. Good Lord.
Someone called him San Diego in the Zoom yesterday, and I was wondering if anyone's going to say anything.
They made some adjustments.
Yeah, started a little bit more pressure. Texans had a tough time handling some of the heat, and CJ started missing some throws.
On the chat as well, Rolo says, "I'll be at Spanky's. I may bring my 4-month-old with me. I don't care." Hey,
they got high chairs.
They got high chairs. It's family place. Come through. We know who he's arguing with. It gets heated between them. Stacy says Landry and Cody, that Washington 2nd round pick, looking pretty sweet right now. Yeah, it's looking damn good.
It currently is the 38th overall selection in the draft.
Silo Pro 3 says everyone on the team is banged up. Injury management will be a significant part of postseason success. We made the playoffs, so it is more important to be healthy versus who or where we play. # rest everyone. Not everyone.
I would
just the ones that are banged up, perhaps.
Like there's an argument that there's an argument that some players need to be in a rhythm heading into the playoffs on offense. So I think, like, I'm not resting CJ. He doesn't need to rest. What's he need to rest for? Like, put him out there.
No, he needs to stay sharp. And that's something that they're gonna have to figure out. But you can't rest CJ. I would say Kamari Lassiter would be someone that perhaps could rest. Maybe Trent Brown. I mean, I know that sounds like get Trent Brown ready, let him rest.
I would let Trent Brown and Nursery sit another week.
Yeah, let them sit and figure it out. And then if they're healthy, then you have a lot of options on the offensive line. But that's what I would do. I would not force it out there with Nursery with the broken hand. He's practicing. He can still practice and move around and stay in shape and all that, but don't force it with the offensive lineman.
Yeah, I mean, because you
do need to win. You do need to win to keep that 5. You do need to win to keep that 5.
You could get close to, I mean, not quite 3 weeks, but you could get almost 3 weeks removed from whatever surgery Nursery had before you have to put him on the football field. And I would think that would go a long way into managing the pain and whatever recovery he can get done in that time. So, I mean, I'm assuming he's going to wear a club if he does play again.
The Eric Williams Club, old school Cowboys.
Yeah.
That'd be wild.
If Nursery ends up with the club hand, that might be a cool cool photo for like next year's Nursery trading card, with the club hand.
How are they on offensive line trading cards? Are they?
They usually suck. It's usually them in a stance. It's just them before the snap. There's not a lot of action shots.
Are you a big collector of offensive line trading cards?
I have a few.
Doesn't surprise me the least.
I came across a couple of really nice Nursery ones on eBay the other day, so I was like, let's pick those up.
All right. Appreciate everyone for rolling through. We'll see you at Spanky's. The playoff scenarios, courtesy of your boy Cody. Tomorrow they return to practice. It will be the final day of 2025. And I just can't believe how fast it went. Subscribe, like, ride along. Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.